back in the building. Salute to everybody. You already know I'm Blue Devil. Now look, this video is going to be a little bit different than the normal videos that we drop. We're not going to be watching the reaction. We're not going to be pressing play. We're going to talk simply on a podcast that was sent to me last night. It was my brother Droops and Lucky from Hoodstocks having a conversation about the whole Wack 100 incident that happened like 2 years ago. You know, I thought this was behind us. I thought we was done with this, but I guess people want to bring it up to try to tarnish our brand, try to disrespect what we have going on, and basically for no apparent reason. You know, but it's all good though. We used to that, and that's what makes us who we are, bro. The hater world. Ain't nothing stopped us up to this point, and I can make it very clear that ain't nothing going to stop us. You know, not when you got the right people behind you, not when you have motion, not when you are the pioneer of what Raza media is today within the streets of California, right? Now, people can say whatever they want. That's cool. Everybody has their opinion. It's just like I got mine. All right. So now look, first and foremost, I want to send a big salute to Droops. You know, the time he spent here with us at the Hater World doesn't go unnoticed. And he was a big asset when he was here. You know, he's not a podcaster. He wasn't a podcaster. You know, he's a real street dude trying to be a podcaster. And the reason that he was here at the Hater World, for those that don't understand or don't know, was because his friend or his co-worker, Lucky, had fired him due to the fact that Droops was having too many friends. Droops was getting too popular, you know, and I saw an opportunity to help out a fellow homie. And I don't mean help like they needed my help. I mean help in the way of let's all build together, right? So I saw an opportunity and I took advantage of the opportunity. And I believe we made history. Droops, Opina, and Blue Devil. Now, I'm only going to bring this up because it was mentioned on the pod, but everybody has a role up here. Opina got a role, I got a role, Droops had a role. You know, Droops' role was to touch up on prison whenever the subject came up. Opina does all the research on the artist and the homework. Me, I drive the boat, drive the car, whatever. So we all have a specific role to play. The dream team, it makes us great. You know, and it worked for many moons, many months. We had success. Successful podcast after successful podcast, right? And then for those that keep trying to say Droops left, Droops left, I'm going to finally make it clear. All right? Droops didn't leave. All right? Towards the end of Droops being here at the Hater World, he had went back to work. He had went back to being a tradesman, you know. And Droops told me, like, hey, I'll pull up Sundays. I'm at work during the week. I said, nah, fool, get your money. Go get your money. You don't worry about this. There's nothing, homie. And those that know me know that that's the way I am. I prefer people to go get the real bag, not the make-believe bag, right? And so Lucky saw an opportunity and moved in like a hawk. And I don't blame him. It's business, right? It's business. I don't blame Lucky. I don't really care that he did that. That's his choice. You know, so to be clear, Droops never left. You know, we parted ways due to the fact of him having a job and me not trying to like barge in on that new venture he had going on. So there that is there, right? But Droops will always be my homie. Uh, due to the fact that he's a real motherfucker. You know, and truthfully, we've been in some things that I can't disclose here on the internet. But if you catch my drift, you know what I'm talking about. So salute to Droops. He's a solid individual. Now onto the podcast, right? I'm not going to explain this Wack 100 thing again. You guys can go watch the video. I did like a reaction a long time ago. This is like 3 years old, 2 years old, bro. You guys can go watch it. It's somewhere on the internet. I mean, if I can, I'll put it up here if I find it. If not, you guys just type it up. No videos have been removed. No podcast was removed. Everything's still up. But this Lucky and Hoodstocks podcast, right? First and foremost, I want to say this. When you mention somebody, that's your opinion, and I respect your opinion. But you also got to respect mine if I tend to respond. And that's what I'm doing now. So the way this internet thing works is very easy. Don't speak about people if you don't want to be spoken on. But if you speak on, don't be mad when they speak of, right? We all know what that means. So in this video that was sent to me, it was Lucky from Hoodstocks trying to push the issue on Droops to talk about the whole Wack 100 situation. And all this comes and stems from Moose Man. Moose Man ain't got nothing to do with me. Whatever Moose Man got going on with Wack and Adam, that's their business, not my business, right? Now, of course, I reacted to that because I do reactions. But for anybody to try to mix me up in that same boat, I think is very disrespectful. Because Moose is a civilian. And for those that know, I'm not. I follow different rules. I follow different protocols than Moose Man, right? But let's get to this, bro. And I wrote down a couple of points right here. Only because I don't have a video in front of me. All right. Lucky from Hoodstock said, Blue Devil, how can he do reactions about people and then invite them on? Well, I'll tell you why. Because my opinion is my opinion. Everybody got opinions. You do, I do, the next man, everybody. I'm not afraid to voice mine. I'm not afraid to voice my opinions at all. If somebody feels ruffled or somebody feels disrespected, they could easily tap in with me and talk to me directly. Now, when I do my reactions, I don't call people out their name. I don't disrespect them unless they have it coming. And a lot of times, bro, a lot of these characters, they do got it coming. And I'm not to say that I'm the one that gets to judge them. I'm not the jury, but some of these dudes, they're internet guys. They play the game. They know what it is. But for the most part, when I do reactions on our people, our fellow homies, I don't get out of character to disrespect them or call them out their name, Okay. Now, that dude Lucky has said, how you gonna talk shit about Wack for 2 years and then have him on like nothing happened? I'll tell you why. Because we don't fear nothing. We're not afraid to be in the same room as somebody that we have problems with. We don't run from nothing. Now, the videos I was doing on Wack were all content-based videos, right? The same thing Wack was doing. But as we all know, Wack, he's the type of character that wants to speak on people, but wants nobody to speak on him. Well, if you guys go back to the video of behind the scenes of the Wack 100 and Loose Cannon episode, Wack walks in and says, You've been running content on me for 2 months. You could hear me clear as day say 2 years.
Check this out, we out here with the 200 boys. You know what I'm saying? SB times 2. So y'all come pull up on them. Southside brothers, our Brown brothers. We out here with the 200 boys, man. Headed 11. They're on their way to the top.
I clarified it for him. I sat down on a 3-hour podcast with him.
Gave him $6 million.
What he's saying is that we gonna criticize him. We need to criticize them.
Yeah.
Right. But
They look like y'all.
But they ain't tripping because they ain't tripping because they told on blacks.
That's cap.
That's fact.
Nah, listen,
That's
dog.
cap.
Whether he told on blacks or Mexicans, he's still a fucking rat. Don't matter.
Yeah,
who
we
he
don't
told
care
on.
about
Yeah, but at the end of the day, is y'all still will work with them.
Who?
We won't fuck with him. We don't
With
fuck
6ix9ine?
with him.
So you telling me you wouldn't do an interview with 6ix9ine?
Nah.
Hell no.
Why not?
Just because we can.
So you wouldn't want to ask him about it?
It's the same shit.
Ask him about what?
The same way you
About
ask
being
me
a rat?
questions. Ask him about what was it? Why did you come? Why did you become part of that gang? And what made you wouldn't want to interview him? Ask him about it.
You did it already, so
No,
we good with that one. You know, I just gotta go.
But
back
you
to
know
that
what? For
one,
real,
you
that's
know?
why I did it.
So if in 3 hours you didn't have a problem with me, it's a dead issue. You understand that it's content. Because if you would have an issue, you would have brought up the issue, right? And again, going back to what Lucky said, how can you talk shit about someone, have them in the same room? Again, what's going to happen is going to happen. You know, keep in mind, Lucky is the same guy that was afraid to be in the same room as Spody Face. He had to go get 30 to 40 Southsiders and do an event before he could call out Spody Face. We found out Wack 100 was coming 10 minutes prior to the interview. The interview was for Loose Cannon, not Wack 100. And at the moment they told us Wack 100 was coming, I could have shut it all down. But we didn't, because Droops wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. Opina wasn't scared. And let me make this clear. 3 of my homeboys were here. And the other 4 that pulled up because they saw the flyer. Salute to the fellas that were here behind cameras, bro. Solid individuals. They weren't scared. Wack 100 wasn't scared. All the black homies that were here weren't scared. That's why nothing happened. Because nobody was running fear in their hearts. Everybody was a solid individual when they were here. All the blacks, all the Mexicans. But again, we don't duck nothing. And if there would be an issue, we would handle it at the time of the issue. And I know that's hard for people to understand because people want me to be loud, out of character. They want me to shake the bush and do all this crazy shit. But nah, there's a time and a place for everything, bro. Right? So, if you guys go and watch the video, the podcast, because in the Lucky Hoodstocks podcast, Lucky said he was interrogating Droops about Southsiders can snitch. If you guys go watch the podcast, it was never Wack 100 that brought it up. It was Loose Cannon.
They could tell on blacks.
Listen, we can't tell on nobody, period.
Why haven't
We can't tell on the cop.
Trey
Pikes
Duke,
is running Southsider.
I
need
know
answers.
people gonna listen to
All
it.
right, so here's one answer. We can't rat on blacks.
No, that's a fact.
No,
That's
that's
cap.
we don't
That's
agree
cap.
with
You
that.
said, hold on, you said you needed the answers.
That's cap.
But you said you needed the answers
that's cap.
hold on, directly from, we're telling you right now.
I'm talking about in the.
There's no way. If you send that paperwork with anybody's name that told on anybody, black, white, Asian, cop, whoever, if they told, They ain't good with us, homie. 100%.
Yeah, they not good with y'all, but y'all ain't gonna do nothing to them.
Why won't we gonna do nothing to them? I can tell you this, dog. If you guys bring any paperwork on anybody that's with us, you're not gonna see him with us no more. We don't care who the fuck he ratted on.
Okay, we're gonna hold y'all to that.
That's fact. You can hold. That's easy
I
to
tell you
hold.
what.
He said, y'all can tell on the blacks. And if you guys watch the clip, which I'll try to insert here to make it easy for you guys. I clearly told Wack and Luz, nope, we can't tell. Droops came in clutch and said, nope, we can't tell. Show me where we can tell. Show me who's telling. But nobody cares about that clip. They care about the drama. So of course they don't want us to look good, right? Why would the headlines want to read Blue Devil and Droops stick up for the homies and diss the blacks in their face or correct the blacks? No Mexican wants to give another Mexican their flowers. Why would they? Everybody's trying to compete for that #1 spot. That's the problem, right? So what better headline than Southsiders get punked in person by the blacks? Now, not only are you diminishing our brand, right, but you're uplifting yours. So of course, that's what you're going to do. I don't blame you. I don't blame you because I know we are a threat. I know we are the threat. So I don't blame you. That goes for anybody. You know, take out the head of the snake, right, per se. But Droops did his job. I did my job. Opina, did his shit. But nobody cares, right? But whatever. The podcast went great. We took photos, chopped it up. But again, I'll tell you this. Drama sells, and that podcast had no drama at all. The only reason people clipped that part of that pod that Southsiders can tell was because the next day Wack started yelling at me. And I'm not going to explain this, bro. But for those that are not internet guys, we don't get down like that. We're not going to yell at a computer, at a screen. We're not going to do the extras with another race. We're not going to do none of that. Especially when we had a 3-hour podcast and you was the friendliest guy in the world, right? But again, positivity don't sell. Only bullshit. And that's why Wack did the yelling the next day, because he didn't get nothing out of the podcast. He didn't get no drama. He didn't get no bullshit. He didn't get nothing. So let me create some drama right the next day. I'm going to give him that, bro. I said it on the first pod. I'm going to give him that. He caught me off guard. Not only did he catch me off guard, but he played chess. And that's cool, bro. Sometimes you take losses, bro. But at the end of the day, I could say that not once did I get out of character, and not once did anything happen to me. And yet a motherfucker that done yelled, screamed, ain't done nothing but yell and scream. And listen, in this world, bro, hyenas, bitches, hood rats be yelling and screaming all day long. So it ain't none to me, right? But here's another bullet point in Lucky's podcast last night. He said, why would you guys allow 50 dudes, 50 blacks to come in through the door? I would have stopped them at the door and kicked them all out. We're not scary. I'm not saying you are. I don't know if you are or you're not. I don't know you. But we're not scary. I'm not. Droops for sure is not. I think you know that. And the homies that were here for sure weren't scary. I guarantee you that if it would have went down, us 10 would have been more than plenty. Because Mexicans got the heart of a fucking lion. Now, I don't know if you know that, but Mexicans don't ever stop fighting. And I know because I'm Mexican. So we didn't stop nobody at the door because it's not that type of party. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And if it's going to go bad, it's going to go bad. Now, I understand you said you would have done things different. You probably would have. That's your podcast over there. You get to do and say as you will. And I respect that because that's your podcast. You can pat them all down for weapons. You can hire security. You can kick them all out. That's your choice. My choice was to let them all in because I know the people I'm with, I trust them and they trust me. And that's how we roll. You know. And one other thing you said was that Hater World thought this was going to be a pivotal moment, that we were going to climb to the ceiling, that we thought we were going to blow up over this. Like, blow up. We didn't, but you probably did. We went into this podcast like any other podcast. We didn't plan nothing. We didn't call 100 goons, which we could have. We didn't call for reinforcements. We didn't bring security. We didn't let's plan this out and write down questions. No. Well, let's figure it out as it go, bro. Any other podcast. We were having motion, bring people on, and it didn't go as planned because it was never planned. And in this podcast game, you take losses, you take W's. That was a lesson learned. It's okay. I understand it was a lesson learned. I think Droops understands that too. The entertainment business is not nice. It's not pretty. It's a bunch of backstabbers and snakes. It's a bunch of people trying to do you dirty to get what you got. You know, maybe you don't understand that yet, but I don't think you've dealt with somebody really from the industry like that. And Wack 100 is as industry as they come. So like I said in my reaction video after they left, Wack 100 taught me a gang of great things, bro. That podcast could have been an owl, but it also taught me a lot of lessons, bro. It taught me how snakish the industry is, how fake people are, how everyone's plotting, how everyone's trying to snake you, including your own people. Because 3 years later, somehow people are still trying to tear down my brand. Not even my brand, our brand. But it's cool though. Like, it doesn't bother me because I know I'm not going anywhere. And I know we're building organically. And I know when we do finally decide to, you know, do what we do, you know, we're going to make some noise. You know, but I seen Lucky was trying to throw a gang of shots at me, bro. A gang of shots. Talk about you do reactions in your room and you don't leave. I don't know what he's talking about. Droops is right next to you. You can ask him if I leave or not. I mean, it's easy to find out. I mean, I don't think I teleport places. But if you're talking about me doing like hood vlogs and food vlogs, my bad. I mean, I can, but for what? It's not my cup of tea. I mean, if you want me to go to like a rap event, for what? I do what I need to do on a daily basis and go where I need to go. I'm a grown-ass man, bro. You know. Now, whoever got a problem, they can tap in. But the thing is that today, everybody's soft. You got an opinion and everybody wants to cry about your opinion. And everybody that I've done a reaction to, I've gave the opportunity to come up here and either talk to me on the live or talk to me off air. And for the most part, everybody has came, except for a few. And that's cool. I'm not afraid to have an opinion, right? But look, Very simple. I'm only bringing this up because they brought me up. So again, this is what it is. If I don't reply, I'm soft. I'm weak. If I do reply, I'm a chismoso. You can't win for winning. You can't lose for losing. You know, however it goes, you get what I'm saying. So again, I was brought into this cheese man. So I'm responding. I wouldn't be here if my name wasn't brought up. So again, people say, "Oh, you're all cheese man." I didn't bring myself up. I didn't pull up the moose fight on Hoodstocks. Cut it out, man. We're too old for this, bro. It's nobody perfect. Cut it out. Like, seriously. None of these podcasters have fought. They all yell like they say they are, but they won't. None of these podcasters are out there gangbanging. They're all at home with their wives and kids. None of these podcasters are doing criminal activity. They're paying bills and drinking Starbucks. Believe me, I know because I do it. Believe me, I pay bills. I go to Starbucks. The same thing with these other podcasters. But you know what the difference is, though? I'm not yelling for fades. I'm not yelling for this and that. Because I don't care about that. I don't want to act tough or look tough. Because I know when the day comes and I got to be tough, I'm going to be tough. And I know I'm going to go to jail or die. You know? And I'm not expecting that day to come. I don't want that day to come. That's the difference. But, you know, the majority of the internet will believe the guy that's yelling, screaming. They will believe the guy that's shaking the bush. And that's cool. To each their own. That's why I fuck with the squad and my chat. Because they can see through all that bullshit. You know? And that's why I'm very grateful of the homies that I do have. You know? Because they've been with me since day one. And all my friends still fuck with me. There ain't one friend that I don't fuck with that I've had for over 25 years. Oh yeah, and before I forget, one more thing that Lucky had said was he had recently found out that Royalty had quit. Royalty from Low Profile Records. And he was trying to make it seem as if people are abandoning me, which isn't the case. G the Barber, that's my cousin for those that don't know. Playboy 2 Heartless, that's my little brother for those that don't know. All right? All the other homies you see in the background, they from my neighborhood for those that don't know. Big Blacks, that's my cousin. Snowman, that's G the Barber's brother. So everybody here got ties together one way or another. And this goes for anybody that's out there trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. I just gave it to you. Opina is the only one that's not related to us. Opina is the only one that's not within our circle in the last 5 years, bro. Everyone else prior to Opina, I have known for 20 years plus. Trap Boy is Playboy 2 Heartless, little homie. And I know Trap Boy since like 2015. So now that everybody knows the cheese, man, Opina was the only one, is the only one that's the odd one out, but he's family. Everybody loves him. My homeboys, everybody else, my cousin Blacks, my cousin G the Barber, my brother Playboy, they all love him. So Opina's family. Okay, Droops, he knows what time it is. Come on. So the only other person was Royalty. And I'm not going to get into all the logistics. I'm not. I'm going to just spice this up for everybody because everybody loves this. Everybody wants this. Even though I'm sure there's going to be people running their mouth down at the bottom in the comments, this is what you guys want to see. This is what you guys want to see. This is what you guys love. Because for the last year, I've been very respectful to Northerners, rappers, YouTubers. I've been very respectful, but people don't respect that. And truthfully, I don't need nobody's respect. But is nobody going to run false narratives on me? Lucky from Hoodstocks said that Royalty quit. No, he didn't quit. I told him never to come back. And you know why I told him that? Because I'm a solid individual and I don't fuck with people that are trying to snake me. Now, you want to keep getting deeper and deeper? We can do it. Let me just tell you like this. I showed nothing but love and respect to that guy. I helped him with his brand, bring it back to the forefront, because I know at one point that brand was prestigious, well respected in the Chicano rap industry, right? But I guess that wasn't enough. And everything that I'm saying, I got evidence for, receipts. Royalty was trying to snake me with all my friends and sponsors, bro. He was telling all my friends to talk shit about me, to cut ties with me, to diss me. Not only did he do it, I'm not even going to say who he did it to, but every single person that's around me, he tried to snake them to snake me. But that's the beautiful thing, that nobody fell for it. Nobody. None of the people that he tried to turn against me for no apparent reason turned their back on me, bro. None. Not one. That's why I got none but love and respect for my partners. Now, Lucky from Hoodstocks, you gonna keep somebody like that around? You gonna keep them around? You gonna keep someone around that calls that dude in the back right there, that your engineer, the fool with the little mustache and the little hat, that calls him and tells him, hey, fool, fuck Lucky. Don't fuck with him no more. Fuck with me only. You gonna keep fucking with him? I mean, one time I understand, but to everybody you fuck with, all your people, your sponsors, your co-host, you gonna fuck with that? Listen, bro, don't get up in my business. And that's cool, because that's cool if you do, because I understand it's content, right? I don't get mad. I ain't tripping. But don't be tripping when I talk about shit that happens up there. You know, I'm a phone call away, G. But now that you understand, maybe you can move a little different, or we can move a little different. If not, then it's going to be what it's going to be, right? And I'm not tripping that you talked about me. I'm not, because I don't even feel you disrespected me in any type of way. You know, you were trying to throw little shots and you were trying to get Droops off his pivot. But that's what podcasters do. And you and I, we're podcasters. You can sit there and say we're gang members, but we're not. You're a podcaster, and I'm a podcaster. So with that being said, I want to officially say, nah, I'm not. I'm not gonna let nobody get me out my character. Salute to all the real ones, bro. Salute to all the real ones that can see through the bullshit. Salute to all the homies. Salute to everybody that's been down with me, and salute to everybody that still holds it down, bro. You know, it is what it is, bro. And we're gonna continue to do what we do, and don't count us out. And this goes to everybody. Don't count us out. And if anybody felt offended that I mentioned, miss me. Because I only speak facts. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to play your game. I'm not going to give you the power I'm not going to give you the power you are looking for. Build your own shit. All right? So with that being said, salute to everybody. Hit the like button. Number love and respect to everybody, bro. You know, Lucky from Hoodstocks, Droops, Wack 100. You know, but it gets tiring hearing the same old conversation over and over. You know. So, yeah, bro, do what you will. It's your podcast, it's your life. You mention me, I'm gonna mention you. And that's the way it goes. And if you don't want to be mentioned, then don't mention me. And that's not a threat. It's not, it's a promise. I got to respond. I'm the one that built this blueprint. I'm the one that gave you this recipe. So with that being said, I'm Blue Devil. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next